Good morning. I'm Eric Martin, spatial analyst and web application developer with the Nature Conservancy's Center for Resilient Conservation Science. I am here today to provide an introduction to the Resilient River Explorer, which is a web tool that's designed to help the conservation community conserve resilient river systems. So, with no further ado, let me jump into the tool. When I first enter the tool, I am greeted by this welcome screen, which provides a high-level overview of the project, some links to additional resources, and acknowledges our generous funders for this work. If I press the Enter button at the bottom, I will enter the tool. So I'm going to step through the various core elements of this tool now. And I'm going to start up at the top at this black header bar. The first thing I'll point out is this little hamburger menu at the top left, which if you click will open and close this left-hand panel where most of the content for the tool is located. That can be particularly useful on smaller screens if you need to have better access to the map. Also, up on this header bar at the right, I'll point out a link to a user guide, which is a PDF document that steps through the basic use of the tool. This more info and feedback dialog rather, will include links to data downloads, feedback forms, and other resources. And there's also a button here to reopen our welcome screen if you want to revisit that. Also on the right-hand side is this Share This Map button, which I'm going to come back to later. Now, the bulk of the tool's functionality is located within these 5 tabs across the top left here. And the first one I will talk about is this Elements of Resilience tab. Again, the bulk of the content for the tool is located within the left-hand pane here and controlled by the 5 tabs across the top. The first of which is the Elements of Resilience. So this section is designed to give a real high-level overview of the core data sets and concepts used in the analysis. I can click on this little arrow or the dots down here to move through those data sets and concepts, get a little description. And when I do that, you'll see that the relevant data is automatically loaded into the map. Also, on this tab, you'll see this Map Layers section, which I can expand. And this Map Layers is included throughout all of the tabs. And it allows you to manually control each of the data layers also. So whereas if I click through here, that will automatically turn on the dams, which is the subject of the content on the left side. I can also manually turn that on and off or turn on other data sets that I'm interested in viewing. I also, while I'm here, want to point out these little help buttons, which you'll find throughout the tool. And these provide a little additional information and help about whatever content they're associated with. So here, I get a description of the National Wetland Inventory's wetlands, links to data sources, and so on. Up here at the title, if I click on that, just get a little information about what this Elements of Resilience tab is all about. The next tab is the Explore the Data tab. And this is designed to really help users dig into the data and understand what components are driving the final resilience score, what source data layers were used to come up with those component scores, and so on. And there's a separate video that goes into more detail on how to use this section of the tool. But the real key to understand is that it's digging into the data and understanding how these scores were developed. The next section we've called Assess a River, and this is designed to summarize the resilience scores for a named river. And you can use this by simply zooming in to a river, clicking on it, and then getting summary information for that river, given that there can be variations in the resilience across the breadth of a river. Next, the terrestrial tab, and this is designed to allow users to evaluate the terrestrial resilience scores, which is another product that's come out of the Center for Resilient Conservation Science for each of the freshwater resilience analysis units. So this can be used, for example, to take a given place that maybe has far above average freshwater resilience, and we might be curious, well, what does the terrestrial resilience look like there? So we can get summary information for each of those units. And again, there's a separate video that goes into more detail on how to do that. Finally, what we've called the scenarios tab, and this is designed to help users test how a conservation action like a dam removal could change the freshwater resilience scores. And again, there'll be a whole separate video on this, but the concept here is for testing conservation actions. Now I'd like to take a minute to walk through some of the just standard map functionality, which may not be familiar to all users. So I'm looking within the map pane itself, and up at the top right here is a button to bring up different base maps. So this can be used to change what we're viewing underneath our core resilience data set. So you can see I've turned on aerial imagery, and if I turn off my results, we can see that imagery as I zoom in, and there's street maps and topographic maps and so on. I'm going to go back to our USGS hydrologic map. At the bottom left, we've got a scale bar and a little widget here that will give us our cursor coordinates if you're looking to get specific about a location. Our legend, clearly showing the data layers that are visible in the map at the moment. I tend to use my mouse to zoom in and out. You can use your scroll wheel. There's also buttons at the top left to zoom in and out. And then of note in particular is this little search widget, which allows you to enter a river by name and zoom to that river. And this includes all rivers that are in the analysis in the continental United States. And if I expand this little drop down here, we can also see, in addition to searching rivers, I could search other places. And I will put in Bangor, Maine, and zoom to a place. So there's two options for searching there, either rivers by name or geographic places more broadly. And the last thing I would like to share in this initial introductory video is the Share This Map button, which I referenced earlier. And this allows you to capture the current state of the application and share that via a link that stores all of the information or much of the information about the tool. So for example, if I turn on a couple of data sets here, I'll put states on too for the sake of argument, and zoom to a particular spot and then click the button, that has now copied a special link to my clipboard. And if I open a new tab and paste that or share this with someone else and go to it, it will load the map with the data layers, the map extent, and so on of when that link was created. So here we are back in the same place with the same layers turned on. So I hope that has provided a useful orientation to the Resilient River Explorer tool. There's several other videos that go into more detail on the different tabs and components of this tool. And we hope that you reach out to us via the feedback links with any questions or problems. Thank you.